Hello, welcome. It is Sunday. It is not the morning. It is not 10:30 a.m. It is 22:04 p.m. Apologies for that for anyone who does like to watch along live. I know we do get some live visitors or anyone who watches on a Sunday morning, but due to some personal commitments, then I had to push today's stream back a little bit. If you ever want to know about that kind of stuff and want to watch live, you can follow the Twitter account. It is Sunday with the AE, so SUNDAE _club at Twitter. I'll make sure I post a link to that in the video description as well. And then I usually post in there if I'm going to be late or what we're looking at doing in this week's stream. So yeah, let's take a look. Let's dive right into what we want to be looking at. Let's just check the audio for this. It is working, although as you can see, hopefully, it might not be on the screen. I have got a lovely, let me just bring that up. I've got a lovely new microphone. It's got lights on it. It's very exciting. So hopefully I'm sounding a little bit clearer these days. So let's just check everything's running. Everything's good. All good there. And we can close that down. Cool. Okay, so I've got a couple of bits of follow-up, and then I want to dive straight into what we're looking at today. So main bit of follow-up is that on a homework edition, when I got my new mic I think it was last Sunday afternoon. So I think I did a normal stream in the morning and then I did a homework edition in Sunday afternoon. We looked at using or trying to learn Figma for doing some of the UI design. And I didn't get as far with that as I had hoped because I was kind of interested in looking at Figma and using it as a tool for the design work for Sunday Club. But anyone who goes back and watches that stream, it's really interesting. The paid restriction on Figma is that you can't share components as libraries across like the projects and stuff, which is really interesting because I don't have a paid account on Figma, but I do pay for Sketch, which I have used for a long time. So I was interested in learning Figma, but with the ability to import libraries that already had pre-built Tailwind components, I couldn't reuse the components. I could use the text styles and I could use the colors and other things from Tailwind, but I couldn't use the actual pre-built things, which kind of meant I couldn't get the full value out of the stuff that the community has provided. So what I'm going to do is in that stream, I achieved with Sketch what I was unable to achieve with Figma in about half an hour. I achieved with like 5 minutes in Sketch, and I'm assuming that's a mixture of both me being more experienced with Sketch, but also me not having the full paid version of Figma to be able to get the full volume out of it, the full kind of value out of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another one of those homework editions, but just stick to Sketch. I kind of don't really feel like I'm going to get the full value out of Figma while I'm not paying for it, and I don't really. You know, maybe we could do something with that. If people are interested in that and we want to do different homework editions of Sunday Club and people are interested in learning that, then let me know. But other than that, I think we're just going to do different UI design streams on Sketch. And they're not a million miles apart. I've used Figma a little bit for work and stuff. So you can, if you pick up one, you can kind of pick up the other one. Another bit of follow-up, this just happened earlier today. If I jump over to my screen, is on the repo. Hello, how's it going? People are saying hello on the stream. So on the repository, so that is github.com. They haven't made again, I'll put the link to the repo in the YouTube feed as well. So it's Sunday-Club, that's the name of the GitHub organization, and then Sunday Club. I might see if I can change the name of that organization as well. They've added this new discussions tab. And so I literally just got offered this earlier, and GitHub were like, hey, here's a new feature. Do you want to turn it on? And I was like, yeah, sure. So basically, if you are interested in some of the things that we are doing on the Sunday Club repository in the streams, I think this might be a really good place to ask questions about it. So today we're going to look at the YouTube planning, how to do that for the sites and the channels and stuff, the models that we've already built in the streams. And usually on GitHub, one of the issues that I find literally up until I just saw this feature had been announced was that GitHub issues and pull requests are not usually conducive to talking about that stuff. If you just have a question on the way in, usually you have to go somewhere else. So you're off to Stack Overflow, Reddit, a website, a forum, somewhere. Whereas I really think this might be helpful for us. So I know people have got a few questions because they have approached on different, if I've posted on Reddit or something like that. And so I've turned this on immediately, like as soon as GitHub offered it for this repository, I've turned it on. And you can see they even have little different categories and stuff. I have no idea how well this will work or not work because it's so new, and they've got a little beta give feedback thing option here. But if you have questions about how we're approaching anything on the repo, or would like to approach something in one of your projects, if I can't help, I will tweet about it, and hopefully we can get other people to help and make it a little bit different. Because I know if you ask on Stack Overflow, you're expected to have a more direct question and answer. And if you ask somewhere like Reddit where you want to ask about an approach to something, it's really difficult to show code samples because they're not great at formatting that kind of code. Dev.to I think is a really good place for that. That is a place where I've seen good questions get answered. So I'm going to make this available. No idea if anyone wants to use it. No idea what we'll do with it. Maybe I will post in there some stuff, some follow-up from the stream. So that's another little bit of follow-up. And I think that's it for follow-up and comments and things. So let's dive straight into what we want to look at today. And that is another planning session, basically. So I don't really want to continue with the user interface stuff because I want the streams on Sundays to be more about Ruby on Rails in general and kind of the more coding side of things rather than the design and user interface stuff. I think I've been interested in the Tailwind CSS stuff, but until we actually have those designs to implement, I'm not sure they're really worth focusing on too much. So even though the app as it stands in development looks very rough, like you can kind of work out what it is, but it doesn't look like much, I'm not too bothered about that. I think I just want to move on to the next step of the design and really what we would want the user to do. And it's okay. It's just a little kind of example project, so we're not too panicked about everything being lovely and polished. And we know that we've got those front end frameworks in place. So we put in Tailwind CSS. We had a look at the view component gem, and we installed that. So we know that that's available to us. But we're not going to look at making the user interface all lovely and polished. We can get a user signed up with some very rough looking text boxes. That will do for now. And hopefully I will find some time to do some homework additions. I don't know. It depends on how much spare time I have. So I wanted to move on to the next stage, and that is planning. Once a user has signed up, we want them to do the thing that the app wants them to do, which is create a mini website for a video channel that they own. And the video channel is going to be for this video channel, but we want other people to do it for others. So we're going to try with YouTube first, but I basically want to look at how we would approach this with YouTube or Twitch. And so I've done what I did previously. So I'm going to make this a bit bigger on the screen. This is Jamboard from Google. And what this allows me to do is draw on my iPad. So I think if I just draw here, then it will appear magically on the screen. That says like a couple of seconds delay, but you will then see what I draw on my iPad. And the big advantage is that I can then share a link to this, and it will be available for people if they want to follow along with the streams, or they're interested in how any of this stuff, they want to build it themselves, or want to add it to a discussion on the repo, which is now an option. They can take a look at these notes as well. So hopefully that's useful for someone. So I'm just going to move my keyboard back, so I've got some space in front of me to doodle. I'm going to move this microphone down, so if you see me looking down or anything, it's just because the thing I'm drawing on is down here. So this worked okay last time. So when I'm talking about planning the video integration, what do I mean? So we have a home page here. I'm going to make these quite small, so because we don't worry about what's on them, so we just have a box that represents a home page. Let's zoom in a little bit up here. Okay, so we have a box. So that's our home page. And then on a user journey, we're then kind of got a little arrow, and we're saying, right, the user comes to the homepage, and we then ask them if they want to create a channel, what the name of their channel is. We do that on, let's just put HP here for homepage. And then it's massive on the screen in front of me, but it looks tiny on the stream and tiny on how I'm actually drawing this. So if this looks awful, please don't judge. So we've got the homepage, and then we come through, and then we take them into that site setup namespace, that controller namespace that we build. And we're taking them through that user onboarding. We're going to build this site model that we were going to ask them some questions about. So that will then happen on step 2. So this was, I Well, that would be, that's for the actions. So this was the, what was it? It was the quote unquote details controller. So we were asking them about, you know, for example, what's the name of your channel? You know, give us a blurb, all of those kind of things. Maybe we want to upload a logo, that kind of stuff. So we would ask them details there. It doesn't really matter what goes there. We're just manipulating that site model. Then we took them through to the next step, which was users, I think. So this is, apologize for my, it's really hard to draw on a glass screen. It's very slippery. So that takes them to users. And at this point, we were asking them for a username and password. Again, it could be like a social sign-in, whatever. That's where we generate the user model. And what we were doing was associating it with the site model that we had just built. So I can actually just annotate that above because I think that's worth kind of mentioning. So let's just put in green above the top. So here we were working with kind of like the site model up till here, and then from here we were generating the user model. I really hope that's readable in some way. And so then we associated those two together. So we associated the user as the owner of the site at the end of that. And if you remember, if you want to go back and look at those streams, we did that via an organization. So an organization would own many sites and a user would belong to the organization. So, you know, so we had some control over that. And so I added that complexity in. You can go back and watch those streams if you want to look at how those models are structured. So we've built all of that out roughly, very roughly. There are no details being asked for, but we've got the controller and we kind of know the gist of what would happen there. Okay, so we've got a user. We're at the end of this user. That's what we've built so far. That's our user onboarding process. We've got that far. Got a user, got a site. Now what? We want to basically take the user at this point to the place where they can start to get the value from the app that we're building. And we want to know, essentially, if it's a video channel, presumably the first thing we want to show them is videos from their channel. I'm just going to grab some coffee. So we want to say, okay, we know that, so you're on YouTube, and we might know the URL of the YouTube channel. How are we going to get those videos? So this is what we want to plan out. So we want to take the user from here, and then we're going to leave ourselves loads of space because this is the bit I'm not yet sure of. We're going to work this out together now. So if we have asked, we might already have asked the user about what the URL of the YouTube channel is. We might want to take them to a page. And again, I'm sketching this out. I haven't researched this at all. We might want to take them to a page with an example design, and it may already have their videos on. Like, can we get that information from YouTube? These are videos. I don't know if that's coming across on my rubbish drawing. But could we, let's draw in like the little, I'm going to try and draw the logo here. There we go. It's very dubious. Okay. YouTube. Okay, so somewhere in this step, are we able to go out to YouTube and back and bring in a list of the user's videos based on what we know from their site? Like, did we ask them for a URL? Or at some point, do we need them to authorize us access to that? So this is the point at which we want to do this. We've got their user account, and what we really want to show them is something with their data in it. And that's what this is, these little blobs. I've actually got a little pointer here. So that's what these are. These are their videos, their content from their channel. And if they haven't got any, we could show appropriate empty state. So this point here is where we want to have reached out to YouTube and said, hey, do we have any information about this? So hopefully we can modify this step to get enough information to get anything from YouTube where we don't need API authorization. More on that in a second. And if we can't do that, we have to work out at some point if we need to ask the user for API authorization. And what does that look like? I think that could potentially look like making this step come over here, and instead having a step in between, and here having something more like, again, more of my artistic skills. You'd have a button here that was YouTube. I'm just getting roughly, and then some text that would say something like, hey, we need to link to your YouTube account. Click here, and then we can progress. And then that would then go off to YouTube. So that would then go off to YouTube. We would then do some sort of auth. Changing color on this app is not good. So do some sort of auth. Give us the keys we needed. So actually, I can add in another arrow there. That would then go back to the server. I might have to write this up better because I'm doing it as I'm annotating. So that would then be like back to the app. And then we would then show, based on the credentials we've just received, we could then take them to a page with their content. So what we want to look at today as we dive into these API docs is, what does it take to get information from the user's channel onto the screen? Now, when we did a planning session last time, a little while ago, we looked at an app, and I think it was called, I'm just going to put those diagrams to the side for a second. I think the app was called, oops, just knocked that. Oh, I've already forgotten. It was called, oh, I can't remember. I think I might have to Google it. I think it was websites for YouTubers or something we Googled. Rivet, that was what it was called. Okay. So we looked at this, and they were able to, oh, I think they may have changed their call to action. Oh no, they've oh no, I'm gonna have to look at the other stream now. They've changed their call to action. So previously what they did was ask for the name of your channel. They would then search for that channel via YouTube and show you ones. Because I don't know if you remember, we typed in Sunday Club with a space in between the two words, and it didn't work. We then did it again by typing in Sunday Club, all one word, and it found the channel. And then we clicked on that, and then it showed us like a little pre-made, it showed us something, but without us having to do the API authorization. And really annoyingly, it looks like they have changed their authorization. You now have to request a demo. Okay, so you can't, for a test drive, no sign up required. Okay. I think we did we sign up for an account? Hang on a second, let me go and look on my other screen. Just gonna see if we signed up for an account on, what's RIV? No, it looks like I didn't bother to actually going through with it, which is frustrating. Okay. Well, let's not worry too much about that. Let's see what we can do. So let's go. Okay, so we've got two options. So from our planning, we know what we're trying to achieve. We want to, we've got our users coming on board here. We want to either not have to authenticate with YouTube, but work out the minimum amount of information we need to pull data from a channel. And if that's possible, if there's just some sort of public read-only API, or maybe we need a key, but we don't need to authenticate because it's public information. Like we could have just scraped it from the website if we wanted to. Because when we're not looking at this point to manipulate the videos or change any of the information about them, we just want a list of them. So we just need a feed of that channel as long as the channel is public. So we want to know if we can do it that way. Our second thing we want to know is, if we can't do that, do we have to authenticate with YouTube, and what does that process look like? So let's go Googling. Let's go find out the information for ourselves. So YouTube list channel API, just random channels list. Let's go and get multiple channels. Okay, I've probably done the wrong search there, but this takes us roughly to the right place. Okay, Create your developer profile. I don't care about that right now. Let's bump the font size up to make this a bit readable. Oh, I do like that the YouTube, the Google stuff does often have interactive little playgrounds with it. That's pretty handy. If you're investigating a new API, it's pretty good to have, hey, you know, like try this out. Like this little panel that shows up and you can chuck some data in it and try it out. That's kind of becoming a more common thing, which is really helpful for experimenting with new APIs. Okay, so this has taken us to channels, so we can list channels. Return a collection of 0 channel with the request, match the request criteria. So what are we searching on? By channel ID. This example retrieves channel data for the Google developers YouTube channel. It uses the ID request parameter. So that's list by ID. Wouldn't that just bring you back? Isn't that the same as retrieve? List by YouTube username, list my channel. Okay. I don't think that's really what we're looking for now. Like I'm assuming at this point we know like the channel, like we could ask the user for the channel ID. What we want is videos. Videos list. Returns a list of videos that match the API request parameters. Let's close this temporarily. So I'm hoping this is readable. Does it just comment in the chat if we need the font size bigger or anything, but I'm hoping it's readable. I'll post the URL in the YouTube chat in case anyone wants to kind of read along. But you can Google along anyway, either way. So yeah, so that's just appearing in the chat. If for anyone on Twitch, there you can just Google Sunday Club and it will come up for the YouTube stuff. Okay, so the table below shows common use cases for this method. You can click on a use case name to load sample param values into the API Explorer, or you can see code samples for a use case in the full screen APIs Explorer by clicking on the code below. Yep. In the full screen UI, you can update parameter and property values, and the code samples will dynamically update to reflect the values you enter. That's great. The list by video ID. List most popular videos. So what we really want is list by channel, I think. Is that potentially search? You might like a request like this to retrieve additional information about the items in a playlist or the results of a search query. Okay. Okay, so that lists multiple video IDs. So you might go and get a list of IDs from some other API endpoint, but want all of the details about all of those videos. So that seems to be what this one is doing. List by video ID, that's basically get me more information about one video, which we don't want. So we won't have at this point, remember, going back to our planning session, we won't have video IDs at this point. We would just have the channel ID. So can we get following list of parameters? So part parameter specifies a comma or separated list of one or more video resource properties. Okay, so those are the parts we want back, I think. So I'm skimming these. I'm looking for okay, so those are the input parameters. I'm not seeing an easier way to list all for a channel. Okay, so I'm just going to go down this page on the left before I jump back to Googling or anything like that. So what we want is just thinking about search, maybe. Would search be a good way to get the videos for a channel? There's channel ID. Okay, would this work? So there's the little cool demo thing. Here we go. So channel ID. What is our channel ID? So we have a YouTube channel, which you're probably watching this on. And I think it's this big long thing in the path. I'm assuming it's this. I've just grabbed that out of the URL of the Sunday Club channel. And I want... Okay, no, I don't want that. So part... Oh, crap. Have I just ruined that? I just lost the thing on the side. Okay, that's not good. Wait, okay, so... This is what it will bring back. Okay. So API supports the following. Try it now. Okay, so our channel ID is the one we had from before. The part parameter specifies a comma separated list of one or more. Just gonna, that covers the, if I close it and then reopen it again, does it keep my? Oh, it does. Okay. One or more search resource properties that the API will include. Set the parameter value to snippet. Okay. Snippet for that channel ID. Will this work? Execute. Okay, it's making me log in another browser or just on the other screen. I don't know what's gonna happen here. I'm just authoring it to do stuff. Okay. Okay, so we've got the playlist back. We've got search results. Okay, we have stuff. How much do we have? Add admin functionality. Okay, so we just have a list of videos. I don't know. They're not ordered by anything. I think there was like an order by or something here. So publish after. Okay, so hang on a second. Okay, I think so. This might be it. So just looking through again, I'm hoping you can see. Again, there was a full screen option here, so maybe this will be bigger. Right. So this is just from reading the docs. What we've done is to go and get the information from YouTube. We've said on the search list API. So that's YouTube/v3/search. That's here. I'm just going to bump this font size up again to hopefully it's readable. YouTube/v3/search. We said we want a snippet back, which I assume is just a general bit of information around what we need. And then we've passed in our channel ID, which if you want to try this out, you can just get the channel ID for Sunday Club from the channel URL. And it's right here. And then you can see what it's brought back. So we've got a kind of response that we've got back, a bunch of information around like pagination, total results 20, results per page 5. Amazing. So we could then go and get the next page of results if we wanted to. And then we've got the 5 things. So we've got so that's a snippet. That's a search result. And it also has a snippet. So that's kind is playlist of that. And what's this? Kind is channel. Right. Okay. So that's brought back the channel and the playlist. So what happens if we just wanted to bring back videos? Could we specify that kind? Video type. I just want to say don't bring the channel itself back. And don't bring back the playlists and stuff like that. I only want videos. Event type, channel type, for content owner, or developer. So what does for content owner? Well, these are things we can look into later. It's kind of weird that I can't specify. So order by date. Okay, so would that bring back if we redo that API request now? I think it's at the bottom here and we execute that. So do we get, for example, this stream? Yes. Okay. Wow. Okay. So because we've ordered that now, so we've changed the parameters of the API request we're making, and we ordered it by date. So now the one at the top, the most recent one we get is this video that we're watching now, which is Let's Plan the YouTube integration API integration, and it gives us the thumbnail URLs and the description and all of those types of things. Great. And then it would presumably last week's episode. Yep. So learning Figma is on there, which is pretty great. And that's got everything we need in it. Okay. Now I'm hoping, have we got a Ruby option across the top? That's brutal. We've got everything in here. JavaScript, Java, PHP, and Python. No Ruby version. Ain't it always the way? But I'm sure there's a lovely Ruby gem that probably does this. Probably Google official one, I would hope. Okay, great. So that is something that I think we can get without needing the user to give us to have authorization. So I think all we need is an API key. I think we auth to is saying, what do these different types of credentials checks? Can verify permissions that can request permission to act on behalf of the specific user. So I don't think we need. Yeah, so I don't think we need permission to act on behalf of a user because we're not doing anything. We're just reading the API. So if we don't need Google OAuth, that still works. But if we take API key out, it doesn't work. So we just need the API key. Amazing. So an API key we can have just as part of our Google developer account. They'll just give us an API key. And what they'll use that for is billing, so they know which app is making which request. And also if you go, you'll have seen earlier on for Google APIs that we get like a quota system that they've moved to now. Yeah. So quota impact, a call to this method has a quota cost of 100 units. And if we come out, you basically get like a bunch of free quotas or a bunch of free credits. I don't know what they're called. And then each API call you make to Google APIs, as I understand it, costs you some of your credits. And then each API has a different billing rate to buy more credits to do the thing. So some APIs are really expensive. Like I think the search one is crazy expensive comparatively, depending on what you're doing. Whereas the maps one is like a really, really like loads of free usage and then affordable usage after that because it's designed to be used at a much bigger scale. So you can see here we've got projects that enable the YouTube data API have a default quota allocation of 10,000 units per day, an amount sufficient for the overwhelming majority of our API users, which means that you're only going to pay if you bump over that limit for whatever you're doing. Or you can apparently request additional quota by completing the quota extension request form for YouTube API services. And then there's usually a bit on here about coughing up money for them. We're not going to worry too much about that one. But it is interesting if you are looking at using developing a service on these APIs and you want to make it free, you do still have that limit, so you can't just go nuts. I wonder if that's something where we were able to do that search lookup on this Rivet site, and that was presumably either costing them free credits or costing them money, literal money. So if we came and did searches using that API that was registered to their key, if they're getting 10,000 of those a day or 1,000 of those a day, it's going to eat into their credits, I guess, and then you have to do a deal or whatever it is. So I think we don't need to worry about that too much for now. I think that's all correct. I'm not really sure, but we can kind of figure that stuff out. So that would lead me to believe for our planning that we potentially don't need to go and we don't need this page yet. So we don't need to go and have them authorize their app with you. We don't need to authorize their channel with YouTube because we would only need to do that if we're manipulating the channel in some way. So on our little playground, which I've now immediately lost. Yeah, which I've definitely lost somewhere. If we want to do, for example, if they have like edit a video or something like that, like delete or update, you're gonna need authorization to do that. Like you're acting on behalf of the user at that point. Whereas to go and get the videos, I don't think we are. I assume also that we're only able to go and get public videos because we're not yet authorized. So let's say that you've got scheduled videos or stuff that's unlisted or anything else. Again, you would need the authorization to do that. But what we're trying to do is get to the minimum amount of work we need to do to get some value for the user. So we sign up a user here, and what we want to do is know their channel ID and then go and get the videos themselves. Cool. Okay, so how do we do that? We are going to take a look and see if there are any gems that can help us, because we just saw in the samples that they have let's go back to search list, and we had videos list, search overview list. There we go. Where did we get to the bit where we could actually try it now? Where's our little thing on the right hand side gone? Oh, there it is. Wow, okay. That's annoying. It's disappeared. Or maybe that's still there the whole time. So when we opened it full page, we had JavaScript, we had Java, we had PHP, and we had Python. And these were importing some stuff here. Hopefully we can see that there's a Rails version of something like that. Let's go take a look. Rails, Ruby, YouTube, API. Developers.google.com, YouTube data API. That seems like it's right up our alley. Ruby quick start. This, if Sunday Club is nothing else, it loves a quick start. anything where I can miss something very easily from the docs and have to fumble around for a little while, that's the definition of this YouTube channel. Okay, use this wizard to create or select a project in the Google Developers console and automatically turn on the API. Click continue and then go to credentials. On the add credentials to your project page, click the cancel button. At the top of the page, select the OAuth consent screen tab. Select an email address, enter a product name if not already set, click the save button. This doesn't mean anything without any context, but I do have some Google apps, so I think I might need to do this on another screen, so you might have to bear with me. At the top of the page, select the email address, enter product name if not already set. Credentials, create credentials, OAuth client ID, select the application type of the YouTube data API. Oh, is this making an app just okay? So click OK to dismiss the resulting dialog. Click download JSON. That gets you all of your stuff. Install the Google client library. Okay, so all of that stuff is just get credentials. Install the gem, this gem. Set up the sample. Oh, okay. So this is really just one script rather than maybe there's a gem that just wraps all of this stuff up for us. we can do that. We can do it this way if we want to, but I'm wondering if there's a gem that kind of wraps up all this stuff. Run the sample, does that stuff. Okay, so it's just a sample. It's just doing the stuff that we can see in the examples anyway. Okay. That's cool. Okay, well, we want to leave this open because we need to know how to get those credentials back out. So full screen, the reliable YouTube API Ruby client. Let's see what this has got going on. So I'm going to bump the font size up again. So hopefully this is a bit more legible on the stream. Reliable YouTube API Ruby client. YT helps you write apps that need to interact with YouTube. Sounds good. Source code is available on GitHub, documentation after registering your app. So hopefully that takes you to, yep, so that takes you all the Google console-y stuff. You can run commands like channel. Okay, now this is what we're talking about. So channel equals YT channel new ID. And then we can interrogate the title. We can interrogate the public. Right, okay, so this is wrapping the stuff that we've just been looking at. So let's start this. How to install, available resources. So it does YouTube account, YouTube content owner. Right, okay, so this seems to do it. How up to date is this? Oh, wow, really up to date. Okay. Last 26 days ago. I'm just looking up here. A few commits. Pretty well used, pretty well contributed to. Okay. Loads of stuff from all of it. So these, I'm assuming, will correspond to the things that we saw down the left-hand side in the API browser. So there'll be stuff in there that this gem is wrapping. It gives us lovely Ruby classes wrapped around this stuff. Configuring your app. So I'm not going anywhere into as much detail as we did on the view component stuff because I am just moving through this pretty quickly. Okay, so that's getting that auth all set up. Apps that do not require user interactions. This is just what we were looking at. If you are building a read-only app that fetches public data from YouTube, then all you need is a public API access. Click on Create New Key in the Public API section and select Server Key. Once the key needs it by IP address, it should be tricky because we're on Heroku. Okay, let's not worry about that. Once the key for server application is created, copy the API key and add it to your code with the following snippet of code. Remember, this kind of app is not allowed to perform any destructive operations, so you won't be able to like a video, subscribe to a channel, or delete a playlist from a specific account. You will only be able to retrieve read-only data, so that's absolutely fine. If you are building a web app that manages YouTube accounts, you need the owner of each account to authorize your app. There are 3 scenarios. Probably should have read any of this before starting an app on the live stream that requires any of this information, but I've kind of vaguely used some sort of this API before and I've used like other Google APIs and just kind of figured it would all be here. So if we didn't have a gem like this that wraps it, we could have looked at that on the stream as well. And you don't have to use a gem for this kind of thing. So you can kind of figure that stuff out. But a gem really does make things more accessible in terms of if anything changes on the API, that's usually you're helped by other members of the community helping you with that integration. The gem being versioned, so version N will work with one version of the API, the YouTube API, and then the next version will work with a different one, and that'll help you handle things like that. So doing it without any kind of wrapping, like a gem or some other third-party code, it just can mean you have to do more work yourself for such a widely used API. If it was more esoteric, if it was something like a one-off, then maybe a poorly written gem might be worse than no gem. But YouTube and the Google apps are so ubiquitous that they're going to become things like this. I'm assuming this probably isn't the only one. It just happens to be the one I found on Google, and I'm not going to spend the stream Googling around. If you remember, we looked in previous streams at Ruby Toolbox, and that gave like an popularity score. It worked out like how many downloads they get, how often they are maintained, how many issues they have, and puts little labels like no longer actively maintained and stuff like that. So that's a pretty good place to. In fact, let's do our due diligence. Right? Actually, let's go and do it. Know your options. So we want to search for libraries. We want to search for YouTube. It'll just be the one we were just looking at. Okay, so we're at YouTube DL. YouTube searcher. Loads of YouTube orientated stuff. We'll just bump these font sizes up, but it's just ruby-toolbox.com if you want to take a look. Oh, loads of downloader stuff, of course. That didn't even YouTube Ripper. Yeah, I've never done anything where ripping stuff from YouTube, but that seems to be a big thing. Okay, so wait for page 2. YouTube scraper. Oh wow, I had no idea that was such a huge video parser, YouTube tools. Okay, so let's see if we look for YouTube API. Here we go. So this is the kind of thing I was. This little score here is like some sort of popularity or something like that. YouTube API, YouTube Data API, and get your downloads, number of stars on the repo. Simple YouTube. That might be something we want to take a look at actually. Hello, people saying hello on the chat. We've got active YouTube. That's very Railsy, but you can see I like these little tags they give. So no release in over 3 years. I'm hoping that's readable. Let me bump the font size up again on the stream. So you get these little tags like no release in over 3 years. Some of them have like lots of open issues. There are other tags they have, so pretty helpful. Oh, here we go. So this is the one we were just looking at. This is YT. So a lovely green label, a long-lived project that still receives updates. So we saw on the repo, it was 26 days ago. Great, and then it has like a nice little score, and you can see it goes all the way back to 2015. Oh my God, look at these numbers, it's crazy. So, okay, we've done our due diligence, we've gone and looked, and that's a really good, we've done that in a previous planning episode, again, where we've gone and looked at other gems that are available and things like that. So Ruby Toolbox, super useful tool if you're looking for other Ruby stuff. So we can now go back to the YT gem and look at these options, knowing that we've done our work to think, okay, well, this is a popular gem. We can be in other people's good company. So we think that initially from our initial planning, we want to build this thing where we can pull a list of videos without the user's interaction. Let's close that one down. And that's this first option that they're giving us, apps that do not require user interactions. We think we can do that one. Great. But that will only get us so far. We would maybe ask the user, hey, tell us about your app ID or app name. We can get the ID and we can just show them their videos. So we can get to this stage. Amazing. And they can be like, oh my God, this is amazing. And we could pick a design and a cool like layout thing. But the first thing they would then want to do after that is like, okay, cool. Now I want to see all of my scheduled videos or, some other thing that requires access. So we want to just check how this gem handles it. So that's web apps that require user interactions. So it says there are 3 scenarios. Okay, so I'm just seeing on the chat that we have Twitch spam. I don't know how to get rid of that. We have had that before. I'm gonna have to try and reach out to Twitch support or something like that because it's super annoying when that happens. And YouTube does seem to do a much better job of holding that. Okay, but please, sorry about that if it's on your screen right now. Okay, so let's take a look at our 3 scenarios. So scenario 1, if you already have the account's access token, then you are ready to go. Just pass that access token to the account initializer. So I think we would have to ask for the token from the user. And in reality, I don't think... users are going to be technical enough to tell us that. So let's take a look at the other scenarios. Scenario 2, if you don't have the account's access token, but you have the refresh token, then it's almost as easy. In the Google, okay, so we'd still need them to know their refresh token, I think. In the Google Developers Console, find the web app that was used to obtain the refresh token, copy the client ID and client secret, and add them to your code with the following snippet of code. Place the keys. Okay, so we have to have some information for scenario 1 and scenario 2. If you don't have any accounts token, then you can get one. That's what we're gonna have to do, I think. by having the user authorize your app through the Google OAuth page. The Google developer click on create new client ID, select web application, authorize redirect. So basically just have to create an OAuth flow. So fill the authorized redirector with the URL of your app where you want to redirect the users after they authorize their YouTube account. I'm just going to read the rest of this and I'll go back and try and explain a little bit more about what I think is happening and what we're doing here. So once the client ID, copy the fill in your add a link to this, scripts redirect URL. Authorize. Code parameters looks like this. Just initialize the account core. Figure that. Okay, so we won't have any tokens from the user when they come because we won't know anything about them whatsoever. So we need, when we want to add the functionality to do stuff to their YouTube channels, whatever we want to do, delete a video or, you know, update anything about them, or even just view things that you would need to be logged in to view, we have to have some sort of authorization for them. And that's going to involve having this kind of OAuth flow available. Now, we have touched on this early on when we installed the Devise gem, because Devise does have an OAuth flow built in where you can sign up for Facebook, or sign up using Facebook, Twitter, things like that. And that goes through that flow where you would recognize it immediately. It's like, hey, sign in with Google. Google goes off and says, here's the username and password, or enter your username and password. And you're like, oh, yep, that's me. Enter my details. And then it says, okay, welcome. Do you want to allow this app, whatever app you're signing up for, to do these tasks? And it gives you a little list of permissions or whatever it calls it for what this app is going to be able to do. And you're like, yes, I want to allow this, or you drop out. And if you say yes, you're then taken back to the application you were trying to sign up for, and suddenly that app can do things by magic. And that process, that OAuth flow, is what is being described here. So this gem is handling that. You put, in order for YouTube to accept users signing up for things, they need to know that we are an app and what we want to do with the details. So you go to the Google Developer Console, or whatever that's called now, and add the app details. And you say, hey, Google, please let people authorize with you to come and use our app. And they give you the details that you pass to them to prove that you are who you say you are. So you need the secret. And you'd be like, hey, I'm this app. Here's a user. Can you give this app permission to do things to this user's YouTube channel when they say that they're allowed? And they're like, yep, cool. They handle that flow. And then they pass the user back with the tokens that you need. And so they will pass you, and that code is like, yep, here's the key that lets you do things for that user. I am butchering the description of the OAuth flow, but that's essentially what this is describing. So we're going to do this in two phases. One, we're going to do the step that doesn't need user interactions, and then we're going to build one that does need user interactions. So this is just about environment variables, which is how we can store data in the app and allow the gem to use it, and some stuff about testing and releases new versions. Amazing. So it looks like this is the gem that we're going to use. And I'm just going to jump to the other screen and try and do this really quickly. So I don't want to bring it up on this screen. So I'm just going to jump to Safari. So you have to bear with me really quickly. And I should be able to do it, I think, from something like this. And I'm hoping I'm going to be able to just sign up. Create Google. So Google Developers Console. Okay, this is every time I come to this process to do stuff with the Google Developer Console, it looks totally different to how it was before. It's kind of annoying not to be able to show it. Actually, I wonder if I sign up using the Sunday Club URL for a new Gmail account or something like that. But kind of annoying when everything's not in the same place. Okay, so yeah, so I've already got apps and stuff in here. So sorry, I can't share that screen at the moment. So if you see me looking off to the right, that's why. But what I want is a new organization. So how do I create one of those? Okay. So I want to. So the kind of Google API dashboard and everything gives you an overview of all of the things that you can. Google API dashboard, new organization, creating and managing organizations. Okay. Yeah, every time I come to it's so huge. It's like, it's not even as, at least when you go to the AWS one, which is baffling and written for, it's the only user interface in the world that's written for a robot, rather than a human to read, despite the fact that it's for humans. But the Google one feels like 5 different tools have been written over all of the years, and they've just like random points smashed different things together. Okay, so then like what's Google Cloud versus Google Developer Profile versus Google APIs? Like, that's so confusing. If you're a Google Workspace, like don't get me started. Google Workspace is the new name for G Suite, and G Suite as a name has not been around that long because it used to be called Google Apps, and they can't keep making me mentally translate name changes. I am a Google Workspace customer. Yes, an organization resource is provided to you automatically. Okay, can I have another one? Or is the organization? Oh, okay, just forward that organization. Adding an organization admin. Okay, so an organization is essentially the thing. Okay, so I have to do it in this one. I don't really want to do that. Oh, okay, fine. So new project. Project name is going to be, if you want to try this, just Google Developer Console, and you'll have hours of fun. So browse, cancel. Okay, so parent organization of fun. Create. So can I show this on the screen now? Because I've only got this. Oh, no, it's got the name of. That's. How do I get rid of that? Sorry, I know that this isn't on the screen. I do apologize. Like, but I've got multiple projects from multiple different organizations in here, but it keeps showing me. Ah, excellent. Okay, so now I'm in this project. Okay, so now I think I can share this. Can I share this screen now? Oh my God, how annoying is this user interface? Yes, I think I can. Activity recommended. So as long as I stay in these menus. Sorry, I'm going to pull this back onto the other screen. And click here. Yes. Yes. Notifications are just for that project. Yes. Dashboard. Yes. Okay, cool. So then we can, okay. Let's pull this tab out and chuck it in here. That worked? No, I've lost that tab altogether. Things are going swimmingly. I want you to know that I'm in full control of this web browser. Where did that go? Genuinely have just lost that Safari tab. Okay, that's not. Here it is. Okay, okay. Let's check this one over here. I think that one can go back over there. Right, so this, let's bump the font size up. Okay, sorry about that. I just had to. Anyway, so we've created a new project called Sunday Club, and this gives us a project ID and a project number. You can add people and stuff like that. And the project has no resources, but I think go to APIs overview. If one of the other projects I have on here does appear on the screen, like it won't show the keys or anything, so I'm not too worried or anything like that. So don't panic if anything. I think there's nothing from like employer stuff or anything like that in there. Okay. So let's We want to add a resource. Okay, let's go back to this and maybe it'll tell us what to do. New project. That's what I've added to get to where I am. So we have a new project. That's what we're looking at. When your project is ready, select APIs and auth in the menu. APIs and services. Okay. Should it tell us what to do next? And individually enable Google Plus. Ah. If you're looking for a pull request to put in, you could do this one. Like you could update the docs on this project. Like that would be a good pull request for a learner to do, or for anyone to do if you really want to fix this. Because I don't think Google Plus is even a thing anymore. The heady days of Google Plus. When your project is select and individually enabled those. Okay, so we go in here, dashboard library. Okay. And then in here, we can type in YouTube. Cool. So we want just the data API. This one, please, Google. I'm going to enable this. It might show a key on the screen straight away, but I'm going to change it anyway. So will I get build or anything? I'm not going to click enable while that's on the screen. I'm just going to pull it over to the other screen. Enable. And just in case it's some... I don't think it is attached to a payment card I own in any way, but why risk that? Why risk it? Why risk putting something on the... No, okay, cool. It doesn't do that. I'm gonna leave this tab here. So this is create credentials. So there's no credentials yet, so there's nothing that you can do. I don't think I have any card details or anything in here. But this is all the things we were looking at earlier. So we have quotas. That goes back to the idea of each request taking up part of your quota, and you can actually see the queries that you've been doing. The credentials themselves. So remember to configure the OAuth consent screen with information about your application. So this exactly matches what we were looking at in that interactive playground at the start of the screen. Some things we were able to do with API keys. Some things we needed OAuth client IDs for. Remember that OAuth client ID is for that OAuth flow that the user would need for us to take action on their part. Metrics is just, I think, what it says on the tin. So you get graphs about how many people are using the API and anything that's happening to that. This is especially important if you're being billed. Obviously, you really care about usage. And obviously, you're probably logging that at your own end anyway. Okay, so I'm going to bump this to the other screen to set up some credentials. Let's see if we can actually get this. That might be a really good opportunity because I know the Rails 5 something or 6 introduced the encrypted credentials, so that could be a really good way of looking at that. Again, tricky to stream without showing them, but what I think I might do is just check that I'm not liable for any kind of billing. So let's show this screen again. So add credentials to your project. So find out what kind of credentials you need. Are you using the YouTube data API or another API? So that one. Where will you be calling the API from? So credentials can be restricted using details of the context from which they're called. Some credentials are unsafe in certain contexts. So we are going to be using the web server because we're going to load that list up in the backend. And what data will you be accessing? So initially, we're going to access public data. Yeah, that's fine. It is not... Oh. Okay. So I was hoping to do it so the key didn't show on the stream. It's now there. So let's restrict this key immediately and then probably delete it straight after this stream. But that didn't go as planned. Okay, so this can be the web app read only. And we can say well, we can restrict the keys to oh, I can only call that one anyway. The kind of key. Yes, the HTTP refers won't help if we're calling it from the backend anyway. Okay, but I don't think... I think it would just stop working. So I think if someone hammers this API key, like I said, there's nothing critical in this account. That's if the account gets locked or anything, there's just some other projects. Okay, so if we save that, I'm presuming we can just trash that key anyway. So if we now go to credentials, that key is now listed as it was there. We can delete that after the stream, and I'll make another one later. We don't have any OAuth consent, so using this key. So if we now copy that, we go, how do I get this tab back in? Can we do that? Yep, and we can just close this one. Okay, so we can go back to our little interactive. Oh, it's there we go. So if we go to the API Explorer, that's what we're looking for. And we had search, list. And here we had snippet. We had the channel ID, which we had from YouTube, which I had open somewhere. Over here. That's just public. That's from the URL when you go to visit it. And we said we were ordering it by date. And let's see if we can make that full screen. So we have an API key. Will it actually let us provide our API key here so we could see it in our metrics? Don't think so. We don't need the OAuth, so then if we execute that, it is appearing your access token. Okay, so maybe if we pop our key in there, so we copy it over this one, pop it in. Oh, are these read only? Are these just example ones? I see. It doesn't give us anywhere in the interactive playground to add it. Okay, so we could potentially, if we jump over to the gem, it had channel.new. Okay, so we could get this installed really quickly. So we can wrap the stream up there. If we can get this working, just even in the console, that'll be a good place to wrap up. So and then we'll just do a quick wrap up for the day. Okay, so let's get terminal up, and we want to just be in the right place, and we want to install this gem. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the thing in place to do the initial, get the user out of here, and we're just going to do a quick proof of concept to know that we don't need this OAuth step here. And we're going to jump straight to the place where we know that if we had the channel ID, we know we could show a list of videos that would look super cool. We're just going to quick proof of concept with our new API key. So that's what we're going to do now. And I think we might be able to do that pretty quickly. So we're going to have this in our gem file. And we are just going to pop this under view component. We don't need to limit that right now. We'll write some tests for it and trust things for now. I'm going to run bundle install to install that gem. Then we're going to remember that we're always on the wrong version because of that whole kerfuffle. No, RVM use. And then we're going to do bundle install. And that has installed the gem. Then we're going to go back to Safari and remember how it let us do those things. I'm scrolling really quickly because I just want to get to the part where it tells us where we can add our API key. So I'm just scrolling through all this stuff. Remember, you can just go through this on the web whenever you need. Here we go. So once the key for the server application is created, copy the API key and add it to your code with the following snippet of code. So let's do that. So we've copied it, and what we will do is we will make an initializer for it. And that is not our API key. Copy it and add our real one there. Cool. So this, I think, is all it should need. So jump back to here and then go and potentially grab from the console some of these. Okay, so let's run the console. Okay, so just keep trying to bump the font size up. I'm hoping this is readable enough on the stream. Let's try that. Because usually we're only just kind of reading it for logs and stuff, but we're trying to read more here. So let's grab channel equals YouTube channel.new ID, and we can, I'm not actually used to seeing that space after the ID. In our own little parentheses. And we want a string, and we want the string that we had was our channel earlier, which I have to keep grabbing from my browser because I forget. And we can just pop that in there. Okay, and we have a new channel object. So it looks like it hasn't tried to reach out to YouTube or anything, I would guess. So we can say channel.title. And so, well, this is the moment of truth, I think, for this. Amazing. It has grabbed from the channel ID the channel title. That is everything we need. So if we could get the user to give us the channel ID, we may be able to get everything else we need. So we've got the title. So we've got this public question mark method, and that's true. Great. Presumably we wouldn't be able to get much if it wasn't. And then we can do channel.videos.count. 17. We have 17 videos on the channel, which is great. And we can then go and get, okay, so we can then go and get a video. So let's get videos.last. There is no last. So let's see what videos brings up. Oh, okay. Videos brings back a bunch of information. It is a collection, a YT collections videos object. So what does that? Oh. Can we do this? I don't have priors. I don't know if we need that. Can we just figure it out? Like channels.videos. So it doesn't have last. Is it just an array? So we can't that way. Is it dot methods? Okay. Oh, it has first bang. It does have dot first on there. Oh, okay. What did I have? What did I? Oh, I tried last. So it has. Okay, it has first one. Oh, because it's paginated. Oh, okay, right. It makes total sense. Okay, so it has first. So if you're a learner and you've kind of been watching this video because you're interested in doing something with YouTube, the idea of calling like .last and .fast and things like .first and things like that, is that because we've wrapped, because we're using this gem, it has been really helpful for us, and we're not getting back, like just a really long string with all of the video, like a response in it that we have to parse ourselves. We're getting back something we actually use. So they've turned this into a collection of videos, the video being the thing that gem has helped define. And so then I just assumed, I didn't check for it at all, that they would then apply that as an enumerable, which would then get you methods like first, each, and select, stuff like that. And then it's a case of, okay, so there wasn't .last. Okay, that didn't make any sense. So, and then running like .methods is again something where like, show me the methods that I can call upon the thing that I am working on. So channel.videos.methods, there's first. Let's see if that does it. Great, it brings us back to the first video. And that is something that's really helpful to think about whenever you're exploring something new, is like having a set of tools in your toolbox to go and explore the new thing. So we now know we have channel.videos, and then channel.videos.methods. Hey, here's what you can do. And what I was searching for earlier is the pry gem. So if you haven't used pry is a different tool, like a bigger tool, rather than like just having the ones built into Ruby. It's a gem that provides you even more tools, and you can learn commands that it will do and help you debug and explore new code. So ls will give you loads of stuff about the thing that you're trying to take a look at and explore and kind of find out about. So if you don't have any documentation, for example, if you're new to an app that you're being asked to work on, knowing tools and techniques to help you find out what the hell it is that you're working with are really helpful. And it can be a bit overwhelming as a learner, because, I mean, look at the number of methods we can do on that collection alone, and you're like, oh, I don't know, do I need any of this stuff? And the answer to most of it is probably no, not right now. But I just wanted to grab the first one. Great, that's first. Okay, cool. So that's a lot of information to get just to know whether I can grab the first one or not. So that's what was happening there, if you're interested. So here we have our first video, which is so exciting. This is so exciting because this would be really easy to put in a UI. Like, I know that we're running long for time a little bit, but I've still got a little bit of coffee left in my mug. So we could actually put this in the UI really quickly. So we have a channels show view, don't we? The wonderful world where channel is both the name of one of our models and something in Rails. That's going to be annoying every time I open this. So we have a channel model, and so we have a channels view, and we also have channels application cable, which is something nothing to do with our app. Okay, so we've got a show view for a channel. That channel returns, that view loads a channel. And so you go through and create a site at the moment. Do we have one channel in the database at the moment? And it's called test. Because I think, so at the moment on the home page, you go and create a site. So you go to site.create, that creates a site. You then go to the site setup and create a details. That does nothing at the moment, as we discussed at the start. Again, this all ties back to the Jamboard we were looking at the start of the planning session. This is all the stuff that already existed before this stream. So the homepage, details controller, which doesn't actually collect any details, but that's where we would put it. The users, where we generate our user. And then we're skipping all of this stuff here, because then we can show this thing. So we're actually no longer creating a channel, if I remember correctly, at any point, and that's what we're developing now. So we would need to come out of here, and we could either ask for the channel on the details step if we wanted to, or we could ask for it now. What we're going to do is I'm going to cheat, and we're going to pretend that we have a channel in the ID. And so we are going to just really temporarily on the channel model, we are really quickly going to cheat and say that it has a YouTube channel ID. And that is going to be the YouTube channel ID, oops, for the Sunday Club channel. Again, this is not code that we want to test. This is just to get something in the UI with this gem. So this is going away. Don't follow any of this. But when we ask for any channel for its YouTube channel ID, we want to get this response back. Totally just rough prototype code to get something in the UI. We don't want this to stick around, but it's going to be pretty helpful for the UI. So then now we know that our model will always return this, and we can test that by doing, we can reload it. We can call channel.last, and then we can say that if we assign that to a variable called channel, we can then do channel.YouTube channel ID, and it will bring us back the YouTube channel ID. Any channel would return us that at the moment because we've just set a method that only returns one string. Not good at all. In reality, we want to store that on the database, and it will bring back the channel ID for that individual channel. For now, we are good. So we now know this will work. So when we go to our channel show view, which means that if we don't need to close our console, what we can do is just start a server in a new tab. Every time. Gotta set up that file. 258. Great. Okay, so then we can set up the server. Okay, so now we should be able to go to localhost. That will take us to our homepage, but we should be able to still get to /channels/1, but it wasn't ID 1, was it? It was channel ID 1. Channel.site.organization.name. Okay, so we want site.last. So the reason we're getting that error, undefined method organization for nil class. So we don't have a site on this channel. That's because we took that association away, I think. So I think we can, no, we added it in. So channel does have an organization ID. So you should be able to do channel dot organization. Okay, we never actually made, so we can just do channel.organization equals organization.last. I'm fixing broken relationships in my development environment here, by the way, like just because it's a mess that I have a bunch of test data in here that was just from previous streams. There's nothing matches up correctly, which organization. Cool. Yeah, so that's why this is such a mess. I'll have to go through and yeah, just because I'm just gonna make a new one. Just because all my dummy data is so broken. So what does a channel need? This is just to get the thing. So it belongs to a site. So we can do site equals site.last. And what else does it need? Validates unvalidated site. That's it. Right. Have we not done my database stuff on this channel? Oh, I'm not actually sure that really matters. I'm not sure I really care. I just pull that line out of the view for now. Again, sorry, you can kind of skip some of this stuff because we don't just do it. I don't really care. Cool. So we have the name of the channel anyway. It's called test. And so what we also should then have is the channel, and we can say it's YouTube channel ID is this. Cool. And can we edit it here? Yeah, we can. Set this ID. Right, now, why are you doing this, Max? Where are we going with all of this? Well, we can show the list of videos from the channel because that the gem will help us do that. So in the controller, in our channels controller, again, this is just a prototype. I'm not doing anything here that we want to keep. So in our channels controller, in our show action, because we're showing the channel, what we can do is go back to our gem and say, create the channel. We're going to do the same thing. But we're going to call it the YouTube channel because our model is already called the channel. And in here, we are, nope. In here, we are going to say, don't need to hard code the string because we've already solved that problem. So in here, we already have the channel is set, and that's happening in the before action. We set the channel down here. And so we have channel, and then we can call YouTube channel ID. And if you remember, we hard coded that. So any channel is going to bring back the Sunday Club ID, but this will eventually be a property on the channel. And so it's going to create a new YouTube channel, which is the YT channel class. And then it's going to say channel.videos. So we could do something like at YouTube videos equals at YouTube channel.videos. Okay, so that gets us an instance variable here. Again, just prototype code. Don't panic too much about whether it's what's going on. It gives us an instance variable on our controller, YouTube videos, which is create the channel, which is a YouTube channel, using the ID. Then say, please assign the videos of that channel to this instance variable. And that at that point is going to, when it needs that data, it's going to go make the call to YouTube and do that stuff. And that means that in our view, we now have the channels. So here we can do this. We know there are some, so we're not going to handle the empty state. So we then have YouTube video. And you'll recognize just the dot each because we know this is an enumerable because we were playing with it earlier. And for each video, we are going to spit out, well, we'll just do a heading like this. Oops. Sort out this. And we are going to say, so the thing we're iterating over is the YouTube channel. And what do we have over? Is it name or title or something like that? We had title. And this is what we could have. So we let's have video, and we could have a comment count, for example. So video title, and then underneath, we could do this. It was comment score count. Okay, so I think we should have, when we then do a refresh on the local server, videos. Okay, so that didn't look quite right, but you get the idea. So this was our original plan for this session, was to get to the point where we could spit videos out. So, well, actually, there are paths for those. That's gonna be the very last thing we do. So we actually put in little thumbnail-y, boxy things here on our plan, and that we know that they were available in our little snippets response things we were looking at earlier. So we know we had them in here. Or like medium URL-y things. So let's go and just look in our gem just to really finish this. So I think thumbnail or something. So thumbnail, no. Just like .jpeg. Is there anything? Ugh. Looking for anything in the docs that shows us where to get those. So full list of methods here. Okay, so description. Snippet, thumbnail URL, bingo. Thumbnail URL. So we're going to show a quick, God, we've got to the end of our planning session. So for each one, again, I'm not going to do the tailwindy thing of formatting it all nice and lovely and things like that, because I'm still learning that stuff, but we can do that in Homework Club. So we have an image, let's just set it, I know that we could do Tailwind stuff to do this immediately. I can't remember the API for that off the top of my head. So let's just set this as like 400 pixels wide. And this can then be YouTube video dot thumbnail URL. Is that all we need? Amazing. So we now are able to show, if we can somehow get the, feel free to leave a comment, by the way. Some of these have 0 comments on. You don't have to. It doesn't bother me, but people do leave comments. And remember that I've also got that discussion thing in the YouTube, in the Sunday Club repo, which I'll come back to. How cool is this? This is amazing. So we have got our list of videos. So as soon as we were able to get the ID of the channel, which is not the same as I think as like the name like Sunday Space Club doesn't do anything. It has to be that ID that YouTube refers to. We then do not need any information from the user in order to show them a website that has pages for each of their videos. That could just happen. And maybe in our credentials dashboard, we now have some metrics potentially. So 1 hour. Yes. So if you look, we now have very, very small amounts of traffic, which is great. So can we go in and look at these? I can't remember how we got to those specifically last time. So this one, manage. We get that just to the, yep. So traffic by response rate, view metrics. Then we might have some errors by API overall latency. Ah, here we go. Yep. So we have made these requests so far. And you can see like how long they took to come back. And that's just from starting to explore that API. We've now got to the point where we are able to pull information back and show it and again see the usage of our quotas. So I think we'll have used so here we get 10,000 queries per day, whatever our limit is. And today we have used 219 because one query was 100 units or whatever it is. We're going to get 10,000. And I'm going to go and delete those credentials after this anyway. But hopefully that's useful for people and that made sense. But I'm so excited to show this at the end, and we get comment counts and get all the stuff we need out from YouTube. So we're now able to take the user, again, theoretically, we've got to make it all look nice, but take them to the homepage, ask them for information about their channel, create their user account on Sunday Club, and then without any other information, show them something of value where we have built a little website for them with data from their real YouTube channel without having to do any work. And if we want to manipulate those YouTube videos, we'd have to go and do the workflow, which we can do in a stream long from now, because it sounds like it's going to be a hassle, but we could do some cool stuff between now and then. So let's do a quick wrap up. If you remember, we also have, I mentioned it earlier, but we also have this discussions thing in the repo. So that's now where people who are reaching out to me personally can just pop it on here. Feel free to post. I'll keep posting on Reddit and stuff like that every month or so. I've been doing that, and I've also been tidying up the code base in the background as well. So with this, the kind of work in progress repo we've been doing will continue to be kind of merged back into master, and that is it. So thank you for watching along, for doing another one of these planning sessions, and we will try and take that even further next week, and we'll see how far we can get. And it's really exciting to have people able to get real content from their YouTube channels up onto Sunday Club, and we'll see if we can get that up onto production. Remember, we do have an app on Heroku at the domain name, so all of those are in previous streams if you're interested. Thank you to everyone who has reached out and who is watching. We just passed 100 subscribers by the day, so thank you so much to anyone who subscribed. That's on YouTube. I know we have people following on Twitch and other things like that, but I do appreciate it. Next week, I think we're going to be back on time. Apologies for being a bit late this week. I think we'll be back on time at 10:30. And have a great week, and look after yourselves. Thanks.